2 rounds into the RTA Indy NXT Championship, and after a very difficult opening round in St. Pete, bouncing back with some good results in Mexico City despite a few small mistakes and it being more difficult than you would think to overtake around Mexico. We sit a long way down in the standings, down in 19th place, and a long way off Tony Griffin up at the front. Usually don't fight for the championship in RTA, and I don't think that's going to change this season. Heading into round 3 in Miami, it's not going to get any easier as we don't have what you would think of for Florida weather. The rain is coming down and going to be torrential at times throughout these 3 races, which is a lot different to the weather we were experiencing here in Ireland while this race was going on. High temperatures, sun splitting the trees, which does mean some drivers are taking this as their drop round, and we have a reduced number of drivers on the grid, just 14 of us for this round. Which now, if we can survive, keep it on the track, get around to the checker flag in all 3 races, we will be in for a pretty decent points haul. So, but not looking to trundle around at the back and just pick up points. Still hoping to get the best results that I can, and that all starts with having a good qualifying session. So just starting my best lap in this qualifying session. Throughout this qualifying it was getting drier and drier. You can still see some water on the track in turn 1 there, but nowhere near as bad as it was at the beginning of this session. So pretty much anything that happened up until the last lap was pretty much not really relevant, because lap times are improving all the time. You can see already almost a second up heading into the S section. Taking it nice and handy, because if you touch the curb there with the wet, you're just going to skid off onto the blue and end up into the barrier. You can see there almost 5 seconds up. It just shows that I haven't really got a good lap. Even with the wet conditions, I still just made mistakes on any of the laps I've done up until this point. So this is definitely going to be my best, just getting a clean lap because of the dry conditions. Heading down into one of the heavy braking zones around here. Wasn't too confident on the brakes at this track, so I was definitely braking a lot earlier than I probably really needed to be, which obviously doesn't lead to great lap time. Through this chicane, really abusing the curbs there. You have to really cut that as much as you can. And still easy to get a off track and a slowdown. It's the risk you have to take, if not you're going to lose so much time. Down the back straight then, as we head towards the other very heavy braking zone around here. Looking for the 150 board and then braking at about 125. Locking up a small bit on the front left, so going a bit too deep compared to what we would really want. Trying to get a good exit flat out through the final 2 corners. Easy to do in the wet or in the dry, not as easy in the wet, but we still managed to hold on. As I mentioned, the track was going to continue improving, so I obviously kept going for another lap, but just through the chicane there. Didn't get the line right and lost all the time I had gained, and then on the exit trying to make up for that. Just going for a spin, and then because of that spin I had to wait and let other cars go past and try and build a gap for myself. So we're on the end of my next lap now, a second and a half up heading into the final corner. Going to just missed my braking point there, which does ruin the lap, but either way I just didn't have enough time. I wasn't going to get to the line in time to finish that lap, which is unfortunate, and it means that at the end of that qualifying session we don't get a lap in when the conditions were best, and finish down in 14th with a 156.5. And considering I was a second and a half up on that previous lap, I knew there was time to gain in the final corner as well. We were at least a second and a half to the, so I definitely think there could have been a chance of being in around the top 10 to start race 1, but it is what it is, and with some tricky conditions ahead for race 1, maybe being at the back and being able to take it nice and easy isn't the worst thing. So with that, let's head into the first race at Miami.
It's actually extremely fucking dry.
Oh, there's a big choice. There's a big difference in tire
There's a
choices I'm looking at here.
there's a real fucking dry line around there, like, oh, fuck, I don't know.
Fuck it. Fuck
What's
it. We're
everyone
set.
using there? Go on,
There's
send it.
only one person in drive so far.
Are you in dries, Compto? Oh no, maybe you're
Yeah.
just far away.
I would be in dries if I was
No,
in
I'm
him,
on wets.
Oh, okay.
Nobody wants to take the risk.
Are you actually? Oh my god, you actually are.
Sounded very convincing. Oh, you actually did?
Yeah.
Oh fuck! I thought you were being...
So, as you could hear there, a lot of chatter going on about which tyres to actually put on for this race. As you can see, I have gone for the wets, as have, I think, most of the grid. And as the lights go green, you get not too bad of a start. Up ahead, you can see the cars going slow. They're the ones that have picked the dries, and I think you can tell by the spray that the wets were definitely the right idea, as Lee almost goes for a spin there, goes very slowly and have to avoid him. And Lee and Dermot now just ahead of me on the tries, and I definitely could have got past them quicker here, but I was almost afraid to try and go beside them in case they looped the car around with no grip and ended up accidentally taking me out. So I felt it was better to just try and play it safe for at least the first couple of corners here and get past all these dry, slick tyre runners when it is safe to do so, as we do on the exit heading on to the back straight, getting past Lee and up into 12th now, but a long way off of the cars ahead because of having to navigate those slick tyre runners. Just coming to the end of lap 2 then, and the gap to Niall has stayed pretty much about the same so far. You can see on the track it's already started to dry out a bit.
Oh, I plunked the fucking wall on the front left fairly hard.
Uh-oh.
As
Alright.
you can hear there, Sean McClellan's seems to have some damage to his car, just hitting the wall. And even though the track is trying to dry out, it is very wet still in places. As you can see there, that a whole lot of grip through turn 2 and 3, and I ended up hitting the wall as well. Luckily no damage for me, but it just shows that the conditions around here are still fairly treacherous and you still have to be really tuned in or it's going to end pretty badly very quickly.
Whoa!
Oh my god.
Oh!
Box.
Are we just gonna keep accelerating?
Oh my god.
No, it's mid-corner.
So as you heard just there, I obviously knew there was some kind of a crash up ahead, as we have Rory O'Shea who started on the slicks, now on the wets. Couple of laps down trying to get past Brandon McCotton, who had at least no rear wing on his car stopped there on the side of the track. And we have Sean and Campbell now just ahead. Rory gets past me, I get past Campbell who has no front wing, so struggling with front end or top line speed there. Sean doesn't seem to be struggling too much, so maybe not too much damage on him. We have Connor now who's doing his best to get out of our way or not get in our way with no front wing himself. So up 3 places already on this lap because of that crash that happened, and Sean just up ahead. We actually lost a bit of time to him through that tight and twisty section there, so I'm sure he has some kind of damage, but it doesn't seem to be affecting him as much as it was to Campbell, Brandon and Connor. On the next lap then, on the back straight, we have closed into Sean, and you can see here the damage that he has definitely affecting his top speed and his overall lap time, because 95 to 99% of the time I'm not able to keep up with Sean and definitely not close into him, so definitely cost him more than it appeared to on the previous lap. Heading into the chicane section then, underneath the highway, I get the line completely wrong through there. Sean gets a much better run through that and he's able to pull a couple of tenths on me, the gap now around about a second. Means that heading down into this heavy braking zone, I'm not going to be close enough to try and make a move. The effect that his damage is having on his top speed isn't going to be close enough, or isn't going to be big enough that I'm going to be close enough to make a move here, and means that I have 2 more places really to try and get this P8 as we head on to the final lap. My thought process here now was just try and get as close to Sean as I can, so that I can maybe make an easy overtake with better top end speed or under the brakes into one of the heavy braking zones. But through turn 3, just want to run a little bit wide here and touch the blue painted surface, which kind of just drags the car into the wall. Luckily no damage caused, but did lose a little bit of time and just kind of upsets the run through this S section, which, I mean, it's probably because I was taking it terribly, but I thought I was going to be able to catch up with Sean. I thought his damage would affect him through there, but maybe his damage was just more affecting his top end speed and not really affecting his downforce and that through the corners. But like I said, it was probably just because I was taking it terribly. But not going to be close enough to make a move at the end of this straight, so have one more opportunity to get past. But unfortunately for Sean, just on the exit, he lights up the rear tyres and goes for a spin, and I managed to get past without having to do anything myself. And to be honest, I think if Sean hadn't have done that, he would have kept this place. I don't think I would have been able to get past, because saw on the previous lap through that chicane he was much better than me. I got a better run on this lap, but I still don't know if it would have been enough, and I think he would have been able to hold on to the position heading down this straight. But you have to take what is given to you, and all of the positions that I gained in this race were given to me by other people making mistakes, either with crashes, spins, or picking the wrong tyres. But in the end, still come across the line to finish in P8. Up 6 free positions, as I mentioned, from where I started, and a good way off Dylan and Tony up in P1 and P2, and then Harvey Dara in 3rd place. And yeah, overall happy enough with how that race went. Still don't really think the pace was the best, but heading into race 2, going to start from P8, and my aim was to really just hold on to 8th place, which would lead to a reverse grid pole for race 3.
Very dry.
Dry? What the fuck?
It looks drier.
Are we doing dries or wets? I think I'm gonna go with
Oh,
dry.
I didn't even assume that. I thought it was going to be raining, so I just spawned right in. Ah, fuck it. I'm staying in the wets. Don't think it's the right move, but
So again, a lot of discussion around which tyres to use, and ended up about half of us on the wets and half of us on the dries. As we start, the dry tyre runners get much better starts than those on the slicks. You can see there's still a bit of spray as we just touched the back of Jean Zeltfeld there. Up ahead, Tony gets spun around. Luckily I'm able to avoid it and no one runs into the back of me.
9th to 3rd in the fucking first corner, lad. That's not bad going.
As you hear there from Sean, had a very good start on the wet tyres, so we do have the right tyres on for the moment, but you might have also heard there I do have damage on the front end, as we are putting Dermot Toomey under pressure now, one of the dry tyre runners. You can see in the standings in the top left, those of us on the wets with the blue tyre icon beside their name, and everyone on the dries with the black and white icon. Heading down the back straight for the first time
oh
then.
fuck, yeah, we've made the wrong move. Oh, bastard.
You can hear there Brandon saying that we, being anyone that's on the wet tyres, have made the wrong move, and that's just because everyone that's on the dries had so much more top speed heading down the straight that time that it's already after half a lap shown that it was the right choice. The wets had more grip off the start, but I think that's the only time we're going to have an advantage in this race. Saw there through the chicane Connor Mealy after going for a spin. I think he just hit the curb the wrong way. And keep an eye on Connor, he was one of the dry tyre runners, and we'll see how he comes back through the pack throughout this race. Skipping forward a small bit then on lap 2, just about to head on to the back straight, and we have Jean Zelfella right behind me. He is on the dries, and we're just going to see the speed difference here now. Granted, he is using push to pass and I'm not, because I wasn't going to try and fight this, not that I think I really could have anyway. but he just steams past us with ease and up into 10th place. Me now down into 11th, having started 8th. It's not the greatest first lap and a half, but there's a lot of time left in this race to try and move up a few positions, as we do straight away. Dermot there getting it wrong through the chicane, going for a spin, and we go back up that place that we just lost to Jean into P10. Now up ahead, Brandon McCotton going side by side with Jean. He is on the wets like myself, and he had a bit of a mistake just before the chicane section, which has allowed us to catch up and into the final braking zone. He goes a bit wide, we get a good run, and we're just side by side but not able to get the traction down as well as Brandon was, and we remain behind him for now. You can see Brandon going extremely far to the right hand side onto the wet part of the track to try and cool down the tyres, which it probably does work a bit, but I'm not too sure how much it works because I wasn't doing it, and you're going to see that somehow I was actually able to keep pace with Brandon. I don't know if he has damage or something that would explain it, but just like I said in race 1 when I was behind Sean, Brandon isn't somebody that I'd usually be able to keep up with either, so I just assumed that he has some kind of damage that is affecting his pace. As we get to the end of that straight, you can see Brandon is flashing a little bit, so being a bit wary of him. But through this slower section we get nice and close, but heading into the chicane section where I struggle in all conditions pretty much. I don't get it very well. I don't get the corner heading onto this straight the best, running a little bit wide, and we lose all that ground to Brandon, who again goes for the wet patches to cool down his tyres. I decide to follow him, and I end up just getting pulled into the wall because of the blue paint on the track. And that's going to be the last time I try that. And into the braking zone, Brandon locks up, goes deep. We get the braking zone right, get the line right, and we move up into 9th place. On lap 4 now, and you can see in the mirror we have Conor Mealy right behind us, who I said to look out for after he spun on the opening lap. Conor is fast anyway, but just being on the best or the right tyres, he's been able to catch up very quickly through the chicane section there. Cutting it a little bit too much, getting a slow down penalty, which I'm going to have to serve along this straight here. I was going to pull to the left hand side and let Conor go past anyway. Let the inevitable happen painlessly, or as painlessly as I can for myself without losing time. So having that slow down just meant it was a necessity rather than a choice, and then lifting off early into the braking zone. 1 to continue serving the penalty, and 2 just so I didn't end up locking up and running into the back of Conor or anything as we move down into 10th. Skip ahead then to lap 6 because nothing has really happened for the last 2 laps, but now we have Alex King in the pits, who I assume was on the wet tyres, has made a stop to switch onto the dries, but with just 3.5 minutes left, so about 2 laps, doesn't seem like the best choice to make, but does mean that I move up into 9th place and just need one person to have a little mistake in the last 3 minutes of this one to get me on reverse grid pole for race 3. And look, it's actually going to go my way as we come across the line to start the final lap. You can see Dylan McClemens in the pits because he actually pulled over and stopped the car at the end of this lap, thinking that it was the end of the race, not realising there was another lap left in this one. So very unfortunate there for Dylan, but for me it does mean that as we come around the final corner for the final lap, we're going to finish in P8, which will convert to pole position for race 3 here in Miami. Harvey Dara taking a convincing win in that one ahead of Rory Roche, who had a great race up 13 places, but I think driver of the day in that one has to go to Sean McClemens, who, believe it or not, went from 9th to 3rd in turn 1 at the start of that race. Unfortunately he dropped back down to 5th, but still a great drive and a great finish for one of the wet runners in that one. But heading into race 3, the final race here in Miami, starting from pole position, let's see how it goes. As you can see, the conditions have well and truly changed heading into this one, and there is no debate on which tyres to use. As the lights go out from pole position, I get a really nice start, and I'm going to be clear heading into turn 1, so taking it nice and easy. As you get to the apex, I get absolutely clean out of it by Dara O'Connor in turn 1. And I saw there I have wheel damage, so
How damage you were
15 minutes of wheel damage in these conditions, and as we head through turn 3, the car isn't going straight, and I actually didn't know if that was because of the damage or because of the weather conditions. We're going to jump on board with Dara, look at a quick replay of that incident. And you can see I do get a good start, I'm well clear heading into turn 1, but then Dara just missing his braking zone and then locking up, and there's nothing he could do to avoid that after the initial mistake was made. I wasn't expecting anybody to be that close to me, so I wasn't even really looking in my mirror to try and avoid that. And yes, unfortunate after the good start. I don't know how long it would have lasted that I was at the front, but definitely an uphill battle now, and we're on board back live, and you can see how bad the spray is. So I should have had no spray in front of me, and now I have 12, 13 cars ahead of me, and one less now, as Connor, I think, had a coming together with somebody. Probably just because he couldn't have seen them. Heading into the braking zone, then we have Tony Griffin going slowly, I think, just because of the conditions as well. I completely missed my braking point, go off into the runoff area at the end of the back straight, losing even more. So it hasn't been the greatest of starts to this race 3.
Genuinely, see if you get anything within a second, good luck, you see fuck all.
And as we just heard from Sean there, confirming what we saw on the back straight, you can see hardly anything when we weren't even that close to the cars in front, and we could hardly see, so if you're right up behind somebody, it's going to be absolutely impossible. But just going back to that incident at turn 1, Dara did apologise to me after the race, which I do appreciate. It's just one of these things that happen in racing, and it's just unfortunate. Something else that's unfortunate is me having a huge lockup into the next heavy braking zone, as did about 5 or 6 other cars as well. As I was going into the runoff, there was 2 or 3 more coming out of it. There's somebody else down there at the back that's after resetting to the pits. Tony Griffin here resetting as well. I think he had a wheel come off or nearly come off. Somebody else coming into the pits just there on the right hand side, and as I head through the last corner, which is easily flat out in the dry, I was about half throttled to try and feel some way safe going through there and still wrestling in the car. So 17 minutes left in this one. It's going to be a real workout to keep it on the track and make it to the end through turn 3. Just like on the previous lap, on the lap 1, a right-hander were turning left through more of it than were turning right. It's just madness, really. And to quote Evan Dalton from the Gantry TV stream, Jordan Kelly, who sets the weather conditions for these races, is an arsonist for making us drive in these conditions. So I go for another half spin there, which is very easy to do in these conditions, but yeah, if you haven't watched the Gantry TV stream of this round, especially race 3, you should definitely give it a watch, because Kevin and Evan, and it was honestly great watching it back and seeing what the two lads made of the driving standards in these conditions and the conditions themselves. So make sure you check out Gantry TV. They stream all of the races for RTA every week. Great quality stream, great commentary, and they definitely deserve more viewers than they usually get, going by the quality of what they produce. End of lap 3 now, as we wrestle the car through the last 2 corners. We're going to overtake Jean, who is in the pits. He had some kind of an incident on that previous lap, and somehow, after starting first, dropping down to last place, now somehow back up into 6th just because of the carnage that has happened in the early stages of this one. And we're going to add to that carnage, going for a spin, doing a bit of a Leclerc there in turn 3. Lucky I keep it out of the wall, don't cause myself any more damage, but do lose a lot of time. And to be fair, all the cars ahead are so far ahead, and I'm struggling so much I don't really know if losing time is going to affect my results a whole lot, because I'm not too sure that I'm going to be able to catch any of the cars ahead. I just had no confidence and was losing a lot of time in a lot of places, especially under braking, because I just felt like if I broke any later than about 100 150 meters earlier than where I would be in the dry, I was just going to lock up and go straight on. So definitely something I was struggling with in this one. Even now down the straights, it's not flat out aquaplaning there, having to lift off the throttle and almost losing the car, but luckily able to keep it pointing the right way. Jumping back on board then now on lap 6, and we can see the spray of Rory O'Shea up ahead as we're heading down the back straight. Like I said on the last clip, it's hard to even go flat out along here. You can see I had to try and save the car there, and up ahead Rory is after aquaplane, crashing into the barrier. His car was airborne on my screen at least, and just shows how easy it is for things to go wrong very quickly in these weather conditions when the rain is this heavy. I actually think it's after getting worse as the race is going on. You can see on the screen it's still raining, so the track is getting wetter, and there's not a whole lot of us on the track to help remove the water, and the drainage just doesn't seem to be the best around this track either. So it's just getting worse and worse, and I think it's going to keep getting worse for the remainder of this race. Just skipping forward down this straight a bit then, because into the braking zone, I broke there at about 175, and as soon as I touched the brake, the tyres just locked up, and I was doing my best to stop the car there, because it didn't seem like it was going to stop at all, and luckily managed to avoid the walls. Take my time coming back onto the track, waiting for Rory to go past, and he does the exact same thing that I did. So at least I wasn't the only one making that mistake, and we hold on to position in P6. I'm going to stay on board for this whole lap now, just so we can see how bad or how hard it is to drive around here. Into turn 1, this one was okay because not carrying too much speed. Through turn 2, gentle on the throttle, and then through turn 3, just wrestling the car, trying to get on the throttle as much as you can, and yeah, you can see how much you're turning left while going right. Going into the S's, I have a snap as well, and it upsets the line, get it all wrong, and head off into the barrier. Luckily, it was fairly perpendicular, like 90 degrees side on to the barrier, so don't think it caused much more damage than I already had.
This is not a track for wet weather.
As you can hear there, somebody, not sure who that is, and not 100% on some of the drivers' voices, saying kind of what I said about the track not being the best for the wet.
In fairness, that the car is quite good in the wet.
Yeah, but it can't go full throttle, like. It's aquaplaning.
And Connor there saying that the car isn't too bad in the wet, which I do agree with. It's actually kind of fun to drive if it wasn't so wet.
Big.
And somebody saying about not being able to go full throttle on the straight, like we would have seen there when I was going down. At points I was about 50-55%, and it still felt like it was going to snap away from me at any second. Heading on to the other straight down, this is somewhere where you could go full throttle, and even able to use push to pass. Not that probably made any difference, because it meant that I was braking about 100 meters earlier than I usually would. I just felt like I had to use the energy when it was available. Heading into the final braking zone, then I was braking so early into here just because I didn't want to send it off down into the runoff area again, and at this point I felt like I wasn't going to be caught from any of the drivers behind if I didn't make any mistakes, and I wasn't going to catch anybody ahead if they didn't make any mistakes. So just kind of bringing it around to the checker flag at this point and trying to keep it in one piece. And then just a couple of laps later, we're going to come around the final 2 corners, trying to drift it as much as I can to finish P6 after a very painful 20-minute race here in Miami.
You're really back up there.
So P6 it was then, obviously 5 down from where I started on pole position and over a minute behind Dylan McClemens, who took the win there. What that means for the standings is that I move up 5 places into 15th, mainly thanks to a lot of people not racing here today, so got some good points while some others got none at all. And then up at the front, Tony not having the greatest round, dropping down from the championship lead, with Harvey Dara taking over from him by 13 points. But overall, fairly happy with how this round went. I don't really think I had great pace, but managed to keep it on the track for the most part, and that paid dividends come the checker flag in all 3 races. Next time out we go to Phoenix for our one and only oval race of the season, and I'm usually fairly good at ovals. When we race the big Indy cars, I got my one and only legit pole position in RTA when we raced at Indianapolis, and probably should have got a win there, but it didn't work out that way. And then when we raced in Phoenix in those as well, it didn't go too badly for me. But be interested to see, you get to ovals and you never really know what's going to happen. You never know who's going to be good on those, and time is just kind of a bit of luck whether you're in the right place at the right time. So we'll just have to keep our nose clean there as well and take things how they come. But until then, thanks for watching, and I'll see you then.